Greetings, dear friends, and welcome back to Faraway village. The mulberry trees are waking up, their branches bursting with spring's first whispers. It's that fleeting, magical season when the air smells like stories waiting to be told. So, pull up a chair, tuck in close, something delightful is just beginning to simmer. So, I climbed the tree myself, carefully, barefoot, with the bark warm under my feet and the branches swaying ever so slightly in the breeze, while the others down below unfolded a large time-worn cloth, spreading it out like a sail to catch the falling mulberries before they touched the earth. It's a method that's as old as the trees themselves, passed down through generations like a well-kept secret. Of course, this approach only works if we move in harmony. I have to guide them and tell them when to adjust the cloth, when to hold steady, when to shift just a little to the right or left, because one wrong move and the juiciest berries will slip through the cracks, lost forever in the tall grass. There's a rhythm to it all, a kind of dance, and I find myself playing the part of conductor in this curious countryside orchestra. We're in the very heart of the ripening season now. Those few golden days when the mulberries are so perfectly ripe, they fall with barely a touch. Still we managed. The branches are bare now, not a single mulberry left behind. The tree has given us everything it had, and thanks to this brilliant team effort, this joyful little harvest mission, we've gathered it all. A sweet delight, glistening like tiny pearls of sunlight. Each mulberry carries the fragrance of spring and the memory of the tree that bore it. Their tenderness promises jam that will sing on the tongue and soothe the soul. So let's head off home, baskets in hand, and make what might just be the sweetest, most delicious jam ever cooked under an Azerbaijani sky. A jam so good it could charm even the sternest of grandmothers. The village is always brimming with life. Just beyond the fence, a shepherd tends his flock, guiding them with a quiet grace. In the next yard, someone is hunched low, picking ripe vegetables with the morning sun warming their back. In the village, one not only finds peace and stillness, but also an honest kind of labor. In Azerbaijan, mulberry jam is not simply a preserve, it's a tradition. Some enjoy it at breakfast, spread thick over hot toast with a pat of golden, homemade butter. Others turn to it as a remedy for sore throats and weary days. As for us, we see no need to choose. When something is naturally sweet, it becomes more than food. And unlike black mulberries, the white ones won't stain your hands purple or ruin your newly washed apron. So today, we're free to handle them boldly. No fuss, no worry. We can mess around as much as we like and still leave the kitchen looking respectable. while my wife, with her gentle hands, begins sorting through the mulberries, removing stray stems and the odd leaf, I turn my attention to the heavier tasks. There's always some lifting to be done, and someone's got to do it. Today, that someone is me. The sky is beginning to grumble now. In the distance, we hear the first rumble of thunder, like a drum roll before the cooking begins in earnest. Let's place the pot onto the fire. It's a heavy copper-bottomed thing, well used and well loved. We'll let the flames coax the sugars out slowly, one bubbling moment at a time. And while we wait, do follow our Instagram account for more glimpses into Azerbaijani village life and traditional cooking. Scan the QR code. You'll be virtually sitting with us, sipping fragrant tea and savoring these stories, one spoonful at a time. And if you've enjoyed the journey so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep these traditions alive, and your comments always warm our hearts. Now what we're going to do next is sieve the mulberry jam. You might be wondering, why go through all that effort? Well, here's the thing. Sieving removes the seeds and coarse fibers, giving the jam a smooth, elegant texture. It also separates the pure juice, which we'll need if we're making syrup later on. We're not rushing this. It's a labor of love, and the result will be worth every gentle press and patient wait.
ما ناشه نایمی یا زی سیب ناین نهگ یا
كمان يرسم
ما هي
بازı hele bir kasa sana
وشتي
The mulberries are now wrapped tightly in a clean cloth, a traditional muslin we keep just for this purpose. We hang the cloth so that the juices can drip slowly.
Pekmez ye.
And speaking of which, jam isn't the only treasure on the menu today. We're making syrup too, fragrant and rich, perfect for drizzling over pancakes, stirring into tea, or simply savoring by the spoonful. And if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and give us a like. It's the little things that keep our channel blooming like sunlight for our stories. Now there's an old tale about the mulberry tree, a story whispered in courtyards across the lands. It is said that once, long ago, two lovers were separated by fate, and in their final embrace beneath a white mulberry tree, their sorrow turned the berries red. Since then, the tree has been a symbol of longing, of sweetness tinged with loss, and perhaps that's why its fruit tastes so tender. Even now, I think of that story. I wonder how many hands have reached for these branches over the centuries, how many secrets the leaves have overheard. The tree is not just a tree, it is a keeper of time, a witness to laughter and love, and yes, to sorrow too. That's why I believe every batch of jam carries more than just flavor, it carries memory. That's also why preserving jam is such a beautiful act. It isn't just about saving fruit, it's about bottling a moment in time. Come winter, when the skies are grey and the fields are bare, we'll open a jar and taste spring again. We'll remember the mulberry hunt, the thunder in the hills, the soft clatter of the village. That's the real gift. The second pot has now finished boiling, and it's ready to be sieved just like the first. We hang the cloth not only to extract juice, but to do it gently without force, without haste. This slow dripping preserves the clarity of the syrup and keeps the flavors clean and balanced. When we were children, both my wife and I were often sent out by our mothers to fetch mulberries. It wasn't just a task, it was an entire adventure. We'd roam through the village paths, eyes scanning the treetops, hoping to find a tree heavier with fruit than those discovered by our friends. What a thrill it was, that feeling of triumph when you found your own tree, your secret treasure, its branches weighed down with sweetness, untouched by anyone else. That satisfaction still lingers, even now, in the way we pick, in the way we stir. The syrup we are making is called in Azerbaijani Pekmez, a thick, dark nectar made by gently boiling down mulberry juice until it becomes rich and concentrated.
Tatlılar hazır peyi. Şuna bizim kalkacağız bu. Keçine isacağını çek içine.
But Pekmez is more than just a syrup. In our culture, it has long been cherished as a natural tonic. Our grandmothers treated it like a liquid treasure, something you didn't just eat, but believed in. I still recall how my mother every spring would insist we start the day with a spoonful on an empty stomach. It strengthens the blood, she would say, as she handed it to us like a sacred dose of care.
Bobby! Sakince.
While I'm here stirring the pot, my wife is nearby, knitting the most beautiful village socks, each thread infused with the same spirit that runs through our mulberry syrup: warmth, patience, and tradition. These aren't just socks, they're stitched stories, woven memories. Scan the QR code to get yourself a pair and carry a piece of our village with you wherever you go. Just look at this color so dark it's nearly black, yet when the light brushes its surface, you catch glimmers of ruby, hints of amber. My little DIY project is finally taking shape, and just look at it now. You can already see where it's going, and I must say, it's coming together better than I imagined. The word Pekmez itself comes from our Turkic roots, pek, meaning strong or pure, and mez, an echo of an ancient word for juice. Together, Pekmez means the purest essence of the fruit. In every spoonful, there's strength, sweetness, and the quiet wisdom of those who stirred the pot long before us. The samovar, once the heart of every gathering, is almost forgotten these days. But as tea time approaches, something stirs in the memory. The quiet hiss, the warm glow. It's as if the samovar knows it's nearly its moment to shine again. Just look at this log, a beautiful spot touched by nature's quiet design and my hard work. Let's pour the Pekmez into jars now, slowly, carefully. great immune booster for winter times. We've got a bowl of jam set aside for today's tea, fresh, warm, and ready to be savoured. As for the rest, it's time to pour it into jars, sealing in the season for the days to come. Just one fruit and look how much it's given us. Jam for our tea, Pekmez to strengthen us, memories to carry forward, and yes, we even dried some to brew mulberry tea on colder days. From a single tree, a whole world unfolds. I think it would be a lovely idea to whip up a simple flour porridge and swirl in a generous spoonful of mulberry jam. Just imagine that sweetness melting into the porridge. It's the kind of humble meal that fills more than just your stomach. It fills your spirit too. This unveiling, our humble flour porridge, is a beloved breakfast in the rural hills of Azerbaijan. A single plate of it sets you right for the day, filling you with the kind of strength that lets you trot up bumpy hills with the ease of a mountain goat.
Yemek hazır. Sen çayını dolap getir.
Yemek de alırsa çay koyar. Şimdi anders anfangen.
Just look at this table, a bowl of flour porridge, humble and warm, now crowned with a ribbon of mulberry syrup. Sweet meat simple, and together they become something deeply satisfying, nourishment for both body and spirit.
Sağ ol, artık hazırım ne ya.
Kahvaltı Pekmez koyacağım.
5 yazı var, 5 yazı.
A bowl of porridge with a drizzle of Pekmez can make you feel 10 times stronger, like you could split firewood with a glance or outrun the village rooster before sunrise. This, right here, is the secret that's kept us strong and healthy for generations. No pills, no potions, just flour, fire, and a spoonful of Pekmez passed down from our grandmothers with a knowing smile. Such a wholesome and nurturing experience we've shared here today. Truly incredible. Thank you for spending this time with us in our village. Come back soon. There's always a place for you at our table. Greetings, dear friends. The season of green cherry plum harvest is in full swing, and it's a glorious sight to behold. We've arrived at our favourite spot, where rows of lush green trees stretch across the landscape, their branches heavy with fruit. Back in childhood, we'd gather in cheerful little gangs, setting off at first light to raid the trees with the kind of joy only children know. One of us would clamber up into the branches and shake the tree with all their might, while the rest held out a great cloth beneath, trying to catch the shower of plums. Just one bite today, and I'm sent tumbling back through time to those carefree days, holding a tin plate piled high with sharp green plums, little mound of salt on the side. I'd dip each one in salt, and the flavour would hit like a lightning bolt, electrifying every nerve, every taste bud. Most of the cherry plums ended up in the skilled hands of our mothers. They'd transform them into rich, tangy sauces and gleaming jams, carefully preserved for cold winter evenings, or slathered over roasted fish, fresh from the fire. I hope you'll enjoy today's episode because this, the traditional art of turning green cherry plums into preserves, is a cherished ritual in Azerbaijan, one that's passed down from kitchen to kitchen, heart to heart. If your soul is already stirred by what you're seeing, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. There's more goodness where this came from. The baskets are brimming, and we're heading home with full hands and full hearts. It'll be a long day ahead, one wholly devoted to preserving the season's gifts with care and joy.
Ganci Sieving kamarvandı. Sieving yapma.
Sen bu başlıyoruz.
We've also got some new little companions today. Just look at this sweet face, a bundle of fur and curiosity. Even I, like a grown man, can't help myself. That level of cuteness, it's a challenge not to scoop them up and hold them tight.
Ne güzel ya o. Ha? O ne de güzel şey. Böyle güzel ya o. Çok da güzel. Etler zaten. Etler böyle. Abursan
Ne ilişkili.
İlişkili.
Vay sesi kaçsın.
Yapar o kısalaydı.
Kuş.
Yallah.
Hadi arkadaş.
Ne mi santim var? Islah yaparız. Bir diskiliye yaparız. Hem dişi erkek.
Şey ama.
Hem ayrı cürzat. En zokiye.
In Azerbaijan, cherry plum jam is more than a treat. It's a tradition, a taste of summer preserved in a jar. It carries the brightness of the season into the darker days. You can continue here by describing its use for tea, desserts, or pairing with savory dishes.
Bu sergiye lazım gördü ya. Zaten efendim sergiye kıgana.
In our village, the cherry plum trees are usually surrounded by families, each claiming a tree and picking with laughter and chatter. Today, though, we came early, before the crowd, to soak in the quiet and pick in peace. And here we go, someone's decided to take a bath in a basin full of cherry plums, no less.
Balaziyat kalsan balaz. Balaziyat kalsan. Na üzmüşsün yetten kene. O yetten kene üzmüşsün.
It's a puppy raid. Oh lad, you won't enjoy the taste. Far too tart for your palate. Meanwhile, time to roll up my sleeves and get to work. Look what I've got. Fresh garlic, pulled straight from the soil, still kissed by the earth.
Ayağım. Çıkanı baharımıza. Ayağın hanı zirgir. Bu da vaxt niye?
Ne uç kal kaçın bana.
Sağ dedin orada.
Gide şimdi Allah var.
Can, hoş hanı bana. Ses dincik lezzet.
Half of it will be hung to dry, letting the bulbs mature and sweeten in the air.
Тих, потих. Инди тар томия, инди тар сан. Zeylen iküle de sıcakı lazım bir yerde.
The rest, that's destined for pickling, sharp, aromatic, unforgettable. While the sauce simmers and the jars cool, there's a quiet moment of joy, sharing food with those who share the land. A gentle offering to the horse, a rustle of breath, and thanks in return. No need for many words here, just a simple exchange between man and nature. Now let's talk about pickled cherry plums. perhaps the most underrated treasure of the whole harvest. Sweet jams might take the spotlight, but these little green plums, when preserved in brine, become bold, bright, and unforgettable. Their tartness softens over time, and what's left is a punchy, mouth-watering flavour that elevates any dish they accompany. In Azerbaijan, pickled cherry plums are a regular part of everyday meals, not just an occasional treat. During big family gatherings, you'll always find a small plate of them on the table, nestled between meat dishes, rice, and fresh herbs. Their tang cuts through the richness of pilaf or lamb, cleansing the palate and sharpening the appetite for the next bite. But they aren't only reserved for feasts. On quiet afternoons, they're eaten just as they are, straight from the jar with a piece of bread and some white cheese on the side. Add a glass of strong black tea and you've got a simple, satisfying meal that somehow tastes like home. Before we dive into the pie, maybe take a moment to visit our little shop. The knives you've seen us use, the soft woolen socks my wife knits in the evenings. Each one carries a piece of this place and the hands that shaped it. Scan the code or follow the link and take a part of our village with you. Something simple, useful, and made with care.
Good.
Now, we're ready to turn our cherry plums into jam, the kind that tastes like sunlight caught in a spoon. Sweet, slightly tart, and full of summer's brightness. But before the cooking begins, there's a bit of prep work to do. We start by peeling the plums. It's a little fiddly, yes, but it makes all the difference. The skins can become tough when cooked, so removing them ensures a smoother, more luxurious texture in the final jam. Before peeling, though, they get a proper wash. She adds a spoonful of flour to the water, an old kitchen trick that works wonders. It helps to remove any dirt or wax from the surface of the fruit without damaging the delicate skin. The plums tumble through the water, clouded slightly by flour, and come out clean, soft, and ready to be transformed. No need for harsh scrubbing, just a gentle rinse and they're good to go. It's one of those little steps that doesn't look like much, but makes everything better. Next, it's time to make the syrup. In a clean pot, she mixes sugar and water, setting it over a low flame. As the sugar dissolves, the mixture starts to thicken into a clear, silky syrup, the base that will hold all the flavour of the plums. The trick is not to rush. Too much heat and the sugar will darken, too little and it won't reduce. But just right, and you've got a golden syrup that's glossy and smooth, perfect for soaking into the fruit without overwhelming it. While the jam bubbles away gently, we turn our attention to dessert. A good old-fashioned cherry plum pie. No measuring, no fancy gadgets, just hands, flour, and the memory of how it's always been done. And while the dough rests, he sets up the samovar outside. It's a familiar sound and sight. The clink of kindling, the soft strike of a match, the low hiss of water beginning to heat. Soon the tea will be ready, just in time to enjoy with the finished pie and jam. There's something about tea from a samovar. It's stronger, richer, more grounded. Poured into small glasses, it warms your palms and your chest at the same time. With everything we've made today, this tea will taste especially rewarding. If this brought you a sense of comfort or joy, consider liking the video or following along on Instagram for more village recipes and quiet days like this one. And just like that, the jam is ready. It's thick, gleaming, and full of character. You can tell just by the way it clings to the spoon. Not too runny, not too stiff, just perfect.
Pierogi na gulasz.
Now we gently place the pie onto low heat. We're not using an oven here, just a heavy-bottomed pot with a tight-fitting lid. This way of cooking is slower, but it gives the crust time to develop that lovely golden colour from the bottom up. With the jam finished, we pour it into sterilized jars carefully, ladle by ladle. The kitchen smells sweet and tangy, and everything feels quiet and focused, like we've stepped out of time for a little while. These jars will be lined up in the pantry, ready for winter mornings and unexpected guests. She saves a bit of jam for now. Still warm, fresh from the pot, it goes into a little bowl, set aside for our tea break. After all that work, it's only right to enjoy a taste while the rest cools down. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps more than you know, and lets us keep sharing these everyday moments with you.
Besyan,
Besin.
Baksı.
Güzel al yeşil.
Baksı. Yani.
And here comes the pie, finely cooked, and just look at it. The crust is golden and slightly crisp on the edges, soft in the middle, with the filling bubbling gently beneath the surface. We've been waiting for this all day, and it doesn't disappoint.
Arzusundan pirogata, якщо шампань езєктик суна пирографі ханута.
Çırçın araya rakot.
Şu anda onu şanıyor güzel açacağım. İmliyum. Zaman biri beklemek kadarını. Tarifim yok.
Çan fosfora dökmüştü.
We cut a generous slice. The pastry crumbles just enough and the filling is sweet, tart, and full of that fresh cherry plum flavour. A bit of jam on the side, a sip of tea. It's not fancy, but it's everything we could ask for. It's been a joyful day, filled with sunshine, good work, and the kind of food that brings people together. These are the little things that stay with you. Thank you for joining us. If this reminded you of home or made you smile, we're glad. Until next time, take care, eat well, and enjoy the simple things. Greetings, dear friends, from the gentle hum of our faraway village to the warmth of your homes. Welcome. Today, my wife and I invite you into our kitchen to share something truly special. A chocolate born from craving, elevated by craftsmanship and cherished around the world, Dubai chocolate. And yes, we're bringing it to life right here. It began innocently enough, a shared moment online, a video that stopped us in our tracks, the crack, the gleam, the silken core of pistachio and kadaif. We were entranced. Even here, where the internet flickers like candlelight, this dessert reached us. And so we decided, let's make our own. Let's honor the original with the spirit of our home. On our table rest two basins, one of rich milk chocolate, the other of smooth white. This chocolate, though, is more than an ingredient. It's an event. Its rise was meteoric, captivating screens, tempting senses, and sparking 1,000 attempts to recreate that perfect moment of crack and melt. But it's not simply the taste that lingers, it's the reverence in its reveal. The way the bar breaks with clean grace, the promise folded into every square, a ritual, delicate and deliberate, like unwrapping a memory. its story is tender. In 2021, a woman named Hamuda, in the quiet of her craving and the hush of pregnancy, dreamt of a dessert both familiar and new. Unable to find what she yearned for, she created it, and from that longing, a masterpiece emerged, one that speaks across cultures and continents. That is the spirit we draw from. In our modest kitchen, we are not merely replicating, we are revering. Our version is larger, yes, but every stroke and stir is a tribute to the original, a dessert that tells a story before it is even tasted. If this journey resonates with you, we invite you to join us. Subscribe, leave a kind word, or simply share this with someone who loves a good tale with their tea. Your presence fuels our fires and flavors. We begin, as all good things do, with patience. The chocolate melts slowly under watchful eyes. It must be coaxed, not commanded. When the shine deepens and the texture smooths, we know it is ready. And now the heart of the bar, the filling. This is where luxury meets tradition. We prepare each element by hand. Delicate kadaif, nutty pistachio paste, and warm sesame tahini. Together they form a symphony of texture and taste.
Böyle tadı ya ne nuşklar olsun. Ya tadı ya. Ha? Tadı değil, besyan. Andes.
With gentle hands, my wife brushes the mold in abstract strokes, golden yellow, forest green. This is our homage to the visual poetry of the original bar, but every line is uniquely ours. The pistachios are soaked and peeled, then dried just enough to awaken their richness. They're ground slowly, releasing oils and aroma. No machines, just time and rhythm. The result is a paste as smooth as silk, yet full of depth. The shell is complete, a vessel of tempered strength ready to embrace the treasure within. Now we turn to the kadaif, those golden threads spun like fine lace. They're delicate, whisper-light, and demand focus to craft properly. Creating kadaif is an art, a thin batter poured through a sieve onto a hot plate, creating strands that curl and crisp with grace. It is more performance than preparation. It takes time, yes, but time is an ingredient too. The roasting, the patience, the aroma that rises like a promise. This is food with memory. And there, on my table, an old device that's been with us for years. A butter churn, now grinding sesame seeds. Slowly, they surrender their oil, their strength, becoming the tahini that will ground our filling in warmth. The kadaif rests, the tahini gleams. We are ready. We fold together our ingredients, the pistachio paste, the sesame tahini, the roasted kadaif. It's more than mixing, it's marrying contrasts into harmony. We seal it gently beneath another layer of melted chocolate. Then we wait. Let it rest. Let it transform. It will be ready by morning. The mould is unscrewed with care, the chocolate releases like a breath held too long. What stands before us is no longer a project, it is a gift.
Yemeğine kadar kişinin bizi kutlayın.
Now comes one of the most delicate stages, shaping the Dubai chocolate. Every edge must align, every corner must hold. The chocolate sets into form like clay beneath a sculptor's touch, sealing inside the harmony we've crafted. Before you go, perhaps visit our little shop. The knives you see, these soft socks my wife knits, each carries a story, a piece of this place. Scan the code and take a part of our village with you. Morning arrives gently. The chocolate has set, firm and dignified. The kettle hums in agreement. Look at it, glossy, steady, full of promise, ready to reveal its secret.
Şey mesela amel kurye.
And there it is, a single graceful crack, a sound that means everything worked. The inside glows with green pistachio, golden kadayif, warm sesame, a palette of patience. Each layer is distinct, and yet together they speak with one voice, a dessert that tells not only its own story, but ours.
Allah. Ama ilgili. والله دهشتها.
One bite and you'll understand. The textures dance, the flavors bloom. This is not just sweet, it's sincere.
تاني في قصة تول خنوم.
If this journey stirred something in you, we would be honored to have you join our little family. Subscribe, follow, return. You are always welcome here. Until next time, may your mornings be peaceful and your chocolate always crack just right. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you very soon. A very warm welcome, everyone, to Faraway village. The jolliest month of spring is here, May. May feels like summer just an hour away from pulling into the station. The temperatures rise, but only just warm enough to roll up your sleeves, yet mild enough to breathe easy. All that's left to do is bask in this blissful weather and cook together under its golden spell. Spring is like a flower in slow motion, a bud that quietly stirs, gently unfurls, and finally bursts into bloom, donning its brightest, most flamboyant dress. It awakens from March's cold slumber, bids farewell to winter with April's last sigh, and in May it flourishes, dancing in full bloom, triumphant and free. May is also the season when poppies unfurl like flames across the fields, those fire-red blooms scattered like embers on the green, catching our eye as we drive past open fields. For my wife and me, the blossoming of poppies has always felt like the true beginning of May. It's the first image that springs to mind. Just yesterday, we were sitting in our living room, chatting as we often do about what to cook next. And out of the blue, my wife turned to me and said, "Why don't we make jam from poppies?" At first, I hesitated. Poppy jam? That was new. But then I thought, why not? Why not try something we've never done before? And as I sat there thinking, another idea bloomed in my mind. But I'll save that little surprise for later in the episode. In Azerbaijani cooking, poppy seeds, known locally as kashkash tokhumu, are no strangers to the kitchen, but the flower itself, the fragile red bloom, is a rarer delight. Still, in quiet corners of the countryside, they find their way into the pot. You'll come across something truly special like poppy flower jam. Poppy flowers, particularly the wild red poppy, bloom in late spring to early summer, typically from mid-April to early June, depending on the climate. In Azerbaijan, this bloom tends to peak around May. This narrow blooming window is crucial for anyone making poppy flower jam, as the petals must be freshly picked, ideally early in the morning when the dew is still on them and the sun hasn't yet dulled their vibrancy. Now let's get some rest before heading back home. The weather is perfect for a little picnic. My wife brought some chilled compote, a great way to quench your thirst. I know that you love mulberry, my dear. Here, take some. All right, off we go home. We've got lots of work ahead.
Bobby, Santi. Yeah.
It is worth noting that the type of poppy used for jam, namely red field poppy, is not the same as the opium poppy. While Papaver somniferum contains strong alkaloids like morphine and codeine, red poppy field contains only trace, very mild, non-narcotic alkaloids. These compounds may have a lightly calming or soothing effect similar to a cup of chamomile tea, but they are far from narcotic, addictive, or mind-altering. So when you're eating poppy flower jam, you're not slipping into a dreamy trance. You're more likely to just feel comforted, charmed, and mildly relaxed. Now let's move to the making of poppy jam. My wife trims the petals so that they won't be too large or too unruly in the jam. So we trim them down, making them easier to stir, easier to soften. It helps the syrup soak through every fold and gives the final jam that lovely, even consistency.
Så blir det gøy å nesten. Şamal ben yapıyor.
Ha.
Amaşınız.
Güzelsin sen şu an. Problem taşkın.
Yemin kusura.
Güzel.
Açık bir falan.
Now remember that I told you I've got something else on my mind. This isn't just about jam, it's really about my love for DIY. And I think that vibrant red, the way these petals catch the light, would look absolutely stunning inside a handmade candle. My wife is going to blanch the petals. A quick dip in hot water helps preserve their colour, soften their texture, and mellow out any sharp, grassy notes. Just a minute or two is enough. We're not cooking them, just coaxing them open, helping them shed their bitterness and prepare for sweetness. Now, while the petals are resting, my wife starts making the syrup. She adds sugar to the pot, pours in just enough water to dissolve it. And hey, before we go any further, let me gently remind you to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you're enjoying this process. It might seem like a small thing, but it really helps us keep bringing these little handcrafted moments to life.
Hemen hazır ya. Diğer katıkları.
Yaxşı.
Once the petals have cooled just a little, she gently squeezes them out, just enough to release what they've soaked up. Look at this beautiful deep, inky purple colour. It's mesmerizing, so vivid and alive. This natural pigment can actually be used as a dye for fabrics, for paper, even for homemade soaps or candles. It's part of what makes poppy petals so magical. They give us not only flavour, but colour. Now the wax is ready, fully melted, and just the right temperature to work with.
Baksana. Oyna lan beni.
Ah, bam,
Siz.
The contrast is beautiful, a flicker of spring caught in wax.
Valla ilk sezon.
Ha 43 daqiqa.
Sonuç. Sos.
Bir qalxsın 8 daqiqa.
In Azerbaijan, making jams from flowers is a common practice. For example, let's take rose petal jam. It is one of the most fragrant and almost too pretty to eat. And just like that, poppy flower jam finds its place among these old world treasures. Just like that, this jam joins a long line of sweet traditions, another quiet masterpiece on the Azerbaijani table. It testifies, once again, to how exquisite our people are when it comes to making jam. The varieties are countless, from cornelian cherry to fig, walnut to watermelon rind, even rose petals and now poppy flowers. Finally, we can sit down and enjoy a cup of tea with a spoonful of this jewel-toned poppy jam glistening on the side. This tea table takes me right back to childhood, to those quiet afternoons when my mum would set everything out so beautifully. Back then, I didn't think much of it, but now I see it for what it was, a ritual of care, of slowing down. And today, with this poppy jam on the table, it feels like I'm passing that feeling on. Well, time to say goodbye, our friends, until next time in Faraway Village.